Imagine a world where national power is measured not by the size of an army, but by the weight of gold and silver in a nation's treasury. Welcome to the age of mercantilism. In this video, we explore the intriguing world of mercantilism, along with some of its key principles, examples, and criticisms, and find out how it helped shape the world we live in today. Mercantilism is an economic theory and practice that dominated European economic policy from the 16th to the 18th centuries. It is characterized by a focus on promoting domestic industry, accumulating precious metals, and maintaining a favorable balance of trade through the imposition of tariffs and other trade barriers. Essentially, mercantilism is a system of economic nationalism where the state plays a central role in promoting and protecting domestic industry. This was seen as a way to increase national wealth and power, as well as to reduce dependence on foreign goods and services. One of the key principles of mercantilism is the emphasis on exports over imports. Mercantilists believed that the best way to increase national wealth was to sell more goods to foreign markets than they bought in return. This required the development of strong domestic industries that could produce goods for export, as well as the imposition of tariffs and other trade barriers to protect those industries from foreign competition. Another key principle of mercantilism is the accumulation of precious metals, particularly gold and silver. This was seen as a way to increase national wealth and power, as well as to ensure a stable currency. For this reason, mercantilist states often pursued policies that encouraged the export of goods that were in high demand abroad, particularly those that could be sold for a high price relative to their weight, such as spices, textiles, and precious metals. Still, another key principle of mercantilism is the use of government subsidies and regulations to encourage the development of certain industries. This often involved the establishment of guilds and other trade associations that were granted exclusive rights to produce and sell certain goods, as well as the imposition of strict regulations on trade and manufacturing practices. One of the most notable examples of mercantilist policy was the Navigation Acts, a series of laws passed by the British Parliament in the 17th century. These laws required all goods shipped to and from the British colonies to be carried on British ships, and imposed strict regulations on colonial trade with foreign markets. The Navigation Acts were intended to promote British industry and trade, and to restrict the economic activities of other European powers in the colonies. Despite its success in promoting domestic industry and accumulating wealth, mercantilism has been criticized for its protectionist policies and its emphasis on the accumulation of precious metals, at the expense of other forms of wealth creation. Critics argue that mercantilism was responsible for a number of economic and political problems, including trade wars, inflation, and imperialism. Because of this, mercantilism began to give way to a new economic philosophy known as classical liberalism in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. This new approach emphasized free trade, open markets, and individual liberty, and rejected the idea that the state should play a central role in promoting and protecting domestic industry. Despite the decline of mercantilism as an economic theory, many of its key ideas and practices continue to influence economic policy and practice today. For example, many countries continue to use tariffs and other trade barriers to protect domestic industries, and the pursuit of a favorable balance of trade remains a key goal of many governments around the world. If you find this video helpful, check out our other related content.